And this, where I am today, this is a kind of an art project. Well, it is an art project. It's not kind of an art project. Is or was an art project. It was in celebration of the 2012 Olympiad in London, and around the country there was a lot of artistic things happening at the time, in celebration of sport and diversity and yeah, lots of different things. Hello, Grace. And this was a football pitch, which is put here by an artist called Craig Coulthard. He created this area, this football pitch, and it was used for 2 games of football. There's a slug down there, a couple of slugs. Hello, slugs. Quite a few slugs. Yeah, it's created for 2 games of football between 4 teams who played just on one day, 25th of August 2012. And it was 2 amateur teams. Some of the players had never played football before, and they came here and played 2 games of football. And then the pitch, the brand new pitch, which was laid in the middle of this forest, was allowed to return to nature. And the 2 teams were composed mainly of people who were new to Scotland, people who had come here recently to begin living in Scotland, or people who had recently received their right to remain. And yeah, 2 teams of men and 2 teams of women. And they played these 2 games, and they celebrated their status as new Scottish people. Hello, Gemma. Hello, Laurie. And they celebrated their diversity and their sporting endeavours, their amateur sporting endeavours, which is, you know, what the point of the Olympics originally were. And they celebrated their part in the local community, in the very natural area. And yeah, this pitch was created and left here, and we can just about see the names of the teams on these poles still here. Let's get a little bit closer to them if we can fight our way through the tall grass. We have Olympia, Nemea, and Delphi and Corinth were the 4 teams. So we can just about read Corinth, little VG, and Delphi. So obviously, you know, Greek names, Delphi and Nemea. But Olympia is most clearly there. And as we're up here, we can get a good view of the stand, or the changing rooms, I should say. We'll walk back over there. I also want to show you the goalposts. And you can see the trees, newly planted trees, or arguably replanted trees. They're there in the penalty areas. So the spruce trees that were felled to create the pitch, they made the barriers, they made the goalposts, etc. Only used for the 1 year. It was only used for 2 matches, deliberately so. Only used for 2 matches on 1 day, and then it was just left alone. That was the point of it. You know, it wasn't neglected. It was deliberately left alone to return to nature. Yeah, that was the idea of the artist, I believe. Like I say, a man called Craig Coulthard, who had this idea. And you can interpret it how you like. You know, you can agree with what he thought, perhaps. Agree with what your interpretation of what he thought is. But I think it's quite a nice idea. And now, of course, anyone can come here. You can't play football on it anymore. Um, I'm not sure if I like the idea of being unable to play football here. I do like the idea of returning to nature. I like that. But I would quite like the idea that sometime it could be used again. A lot of work for 2 matches. I'm glad they didn't destroy anything. Yeah, they reused the trees and then they planted more trees. So it was the idea of it wasn't really to create a new football pitch for the use of the community. The idea was to create this single piece of art so that it could be interpreted and considered rather than used for anything more than just that one day. So it is being returned to nature, but it's also kind of being returned to nature, if that makes sense. So here's the goalposts, or one of the goalposts, and it's bowing in the middle now, very definitely. And I came here at the weekend and I took some pictures, and I put them up on my Twitter, and I tagged in the artist, and he said that he quite liked the lichen on the goalpost here, and I do as well. That's why I took the picture. I do like that. This lichen. I know that this kind. It's not quite as soft as it looks. Unfortunately, this kind of lichen or moss. It's not quite as nice to the touch as it looks. Sadly, but you can see it on the crossbar as well. Starting to bow. It looks good. We'll walk around to the changing rooms. So the trees, I mean, they remind me of a team. I think the trees are a bit like the defenders in a football team, because they're congregating around the goal mouth, and I can imagine perhaps a corner being taken, and these are all the players in the middle of the box. Were the two games big, significant games for them? Well, they were no more than what they were, if that makes sense. So at the time, for the London Olympics, part of the football tournament was part of the football tournament took place in Glasgow, up at Hampden. Hello, Brenda. And this wasn't part of the Olympic football tournament, but it was inspired by the Olympics very much. It was happening in 2012. It was part of the cultural Olympiad. So it was a sporting contest, as a whole part of the Olympics, or the Olympic time, the Olympic change in the culture, you could say. But it wasn't. It was no more of a sporting contest than just 4 teams coming together to play football. So that was all there was to it in terms of the sport. It's much more of an art project than I think more of an art project than a sporting one, I would suggest. And part of that art is that it should only be used for the sport for that one day, and then returned to nature, returned to the forest. And you can see the forest taking over again. Most clearly intact part of it is the changing rooms. So here at the time there was curtains put up, privacy curtains. Whereabouts is this? This is on the road between the road that goes up past Selkirk Golf Course and heads towards St Boswell's, if you know that deep ollie. Yeah, the Selkirk to St Boswell's road. So this is the part of the part of the pitch which is most clearly still intact. There's bits starting to crumble off it, but it looks pretty beautiful there. Reminds you of Montana. Well, this is a spruce forest, and I'm sure you get that around all over. I did say hello, Vito, yes. And you can hear the birds chirping away. I can hear some pigeons as well. Hello, Pablo. So, what do you think of it? What do you think of this piece of art? Do you think it's more art than sport? Can sport be a kind of art? I wonder. Why do you think it's being returned to nature? What do you think about the two teams coming to Scotland and coming together to play this one sporting contest, and then it just disappearing into Scotland? I think that's what's happening. I think it's not just the pitch which is disappearing into the nature of Scotland. I think it was the teams of new Scots which have disappeared into Scotland and become part of Scotland. I think that's what's happening. You totally believe sport can be an art? Yeah, I think so. Can art be a sport? I think this proves that it can. Thank you, Vito. That award? I reckon it can. Shall we go have a look at the other goalpost as well? Do you have to use your imagination? I'm afraid you might have to use your imagination a little bit. Yeah. Let's go see if we can find some way of getting across to the other posts. It's a kind of a path. I reckon that some of these paths are probably being created by deer. I wouldn't be surprised if this is regularly inhabited by deer. Very dry, it's not. It's really not. Look, my jeans are getting wet. You can see all the grass seeds on my boots. This is not dry. I have to go across here, I think. So you can see another of the posts of some sort. Over there. Right, duck down. You can see some thistles appearing. I think these are meant to be seats here. I think these are seats for the spectators, made from the trees which were felled to create the pitch. So if you have a look at the forestpitch.org website, you can see video footage of the day that the matches were played, 25th of August 2012, so 9 years ago, and it was perfect, the perfect short green grass. It was very much a football pitch 9 years ago, and it's been left since then, and now you can see the grass. Obviously this is August again. It is, the grass is very much at its height. That's nice, Gemma. Did they stop you? Did they arrest you? I hope. It's starting to rain a little bit. I think I'll get back to the change room where I left my umbrella. Quite an art putting the fence up. It's good, isn't it? And you can see here, you can see these trees planted here along the lines of the pitch, along the edge there. Those ones aren't doing so well though, for some reason. Yeah, it's starting to rain again. So my trousers are going to get even more wet. Tour guides, yeah, well, you never know. The grass under my feet is getting very wet. It's starting to get kind of marshy and boggy in places. You have a medical card, that's good. Here you see the moss. It's more moss than grass in some places. There's the other set of goals, and I think I'm not sure if we can walk back this way. I think there's no real path over there. Listen to the birds. So that's what the trees will hopefully look like, kind of, when it's being returned to nature. I think, are these, let's have a look, let's have a closer look, are they birches? No, I'm not sure what they are actually. Walking is an Olympic sport, so is football, as well as skating, yes. As I said, the football tournament in 2012 partly took place in Glasgow, and I suppose that was part of the inspiration for this football pitch being here in Scotland, I suppose. But I'm going to walk back to the changing rooms again. Let's duck down once more underneath, back onto the pitch itself. Yeah, I wonder why these trees aren't doing so well. There's something growing down there anyway. Lots of slugs here. Plenty of slugs. They'll all be coming out after the rain. It's a very beautiful, peaceful place. Seeing the trees around the pitch, it creates a kind of a stadium sort of feel to me. You can imagine these being massive stands holding 50,000 people, like Hampden. But it's all just part of the nature of Scotland instead. That's how I interpret it. What about you? But I like it. I like this place. And I can easily imagine deer and badgers and foxes roaming. Is squash an Olympic sport? I'm not sure. Not sure. There are racket sports in the Olympics. It's possible that I'm the only person who's been here in a year. It's possible. But the way it looks, I mean, I could be the first person to come here since it was used almost. And it is right in the middle of the forest. Well, that was a spider's web I just went through. Shall we have a look at some of the bark? If I clip on my macro lens, got it in my pocket here, if I clip it on, we'll have a look at some of the bark. If I can find, where are we? In here somewhere, hang on. Like that. Yeah, other one. Must be that one. I'll have to take my battery off first. Right. So center the lens and why is that not working? Oh, I know why. It's the wrong lens. Hold on. Let me get my other lens out. Let me get out my other clip-on lens. I'll put it down there. Where are they? Spider's web. You legit have to strip off in the shower. Ah, well, that's nature for you, you know. That's nature. There we go. There's the right lens. But I want to have a look at some of the wood. And, there we go. Right. So, turn you around. And that's better. There we go. Little spar, a little bar in there. That's my finger. Look at the marks on the pole here. Like, is that a spider there? Yes. Come on, let's try to get it under my lens. Whoops. Come on. No, it's running away. It's running away. Let's take the lens off for a second. It was... Where did it go? It's probably gone under the bark there, unfortunately. I like taking a picture of the screws. Look at that. Don't show spider, right? That's pretty beautiful, isn't it? There's another one. Can't quite see what's in the hole though. Show you some of the lichen and moss. Whenever I'm looking at nature, I try to find not just the macro but the mini as well. The very small as well as the massive trees. It's all equally important, I reckon. Show some of the grass as well. If you can do that, let's straighten you out. Yeah. So perhaps it's worth bearing in mind that just like an entire community or a country or a team is made up of individual people who individually might seem to be small and irrelevant, but just like in nature, that's made up of seemingly irrelevant individual portions, just single blades of grass or individual flowers. Am I being trite? I think I probably am. That's what it makes me think of anyway. And the nature, the same as nature is composed of small individual things, as a team is, as an entire country is made up of those small individual things. They each play their own particular purpose as they are seen up close, or as they are seen as a whole. The same rules apply, I think, in sport and in nature and in people, countries, peoples, nationalities. That's what I think. Thank you, Brenda. There's Gemma, look away. I won't show you a spider, but there's a bit of spider's web up there. Oh, Simon. Currently taking clippings of some flowers pressed. Just pressed one of those roses from Thomas. Ah, yes. Was it the yellow one or the orange one? Can you hear the sheep? Two job interviews. That's nice. You can see the bark peeling away from the planks. I think it's bark coming off that. Looks almost like leather though. Doesn't it? Yeah, so Forest Pitch. It's a very interesting place. Just grab my bag. I think it's a very interesting place. I think it's thought-provoking. It is an interesting sculpture, yeah. Like I say, there on the day it had curtains up so that people could get changed in there. And then they entered the pitch from this side. And played their matches in here. A thoroughly interesting place, I reckon. What is that? Anyone know what kind of plant that is? It's an unusual one. Not one I recognise. What we're doing the weekend, I'm not sure. Not sure yet. Lilac. Kind of that colour. Look at the different colours of the trees. This was used for the Olympics, kind of. Lavender. Don't think it's lavender. But kind of too tough for lavender. Historic Scotland locations, I'm sure it will. Well, I was at that castle just a few days ago, wasn't I? I'm sure it will be. Smell it. I'll walk past it now. So I think it's quite an inspirational place. And I may come back here another few years. Did I hear something in the forest behind me? I heard some movement. What year? It was 2012. So maybe I'll come back here for the next Olympiad. Where's the next one? Is it Melbourne or no, Paris next, isn't it? Who owns it? I guess it will be somebody like Duke of Roxburgh or something. So it's been here for 9 years, since 2012. It was created for that as an art exhibition, as an art installation. Anyway, that'll do. So thank you for watching, everybody. Thanks for walking around the football pitch. As I say, you can have a look at the footballpitch.org website, and I tagged in the name of the artist as well, or the handle of the artist, Chris Coulthard, whose art this is. And you can even come here yourself, those of you who are local, and experience it yourself. Thank you, everybody. So I will see you again, I don't know, later today, of course, this evening. I'll be doing some unboxing. Thank you, Vito. Always appreciate your positivity. Yeah, so I'll see you later this evening. And all the usual stuff as well. Sketching on Tuesday, etc. So thanks for being here. Thanks for the awards there. Thank you for walking with me and considering the art with me. And I'll see you all later. Cheery bye, everyone. Have a nice Friday evening. See you next time, everyone. Bye bye.